being skinny is not everything. Hi, thank you for clicking on the video, and I hope everyone is doing really well. Lately, I've been thinking about things that I've learned recently, and on the spot, it's really hard for me to think of anything, and I know I've learned a lot, and yet I can't think of one thing. But when I really, sit in quiet, contemplation and really think about, the past couple years and how far I've come and all the progress that I've made, what big, life-changing realizations have I come to? The one that really is the main, summary of all of this, being in recovery and all of that. The main thing is my old obsession with being skinny, becoming skinny, being the thing that was my all-consuming thought. It was what drove me. It was my goal. It was my life. If I went back in time and told my younger self anything, it would be being skinny doesn't matter. Making skinniness your priority, making skinniness your everything, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter what your body shape is if you're still disrespecting your body. You're still disrespecting yourself. You're not taking care of yourself. If you're still a jerk to other people, who cares what pant size you wear? If you're still disrespectful to yourself, why does it matter what size you wear or what your measurements are or your weight? It doesn't matter, because you're still a horrible person. And I probably would tell my younger self, you're a bitch. And the more you obsess and the more you make skinny your life, the more you're isolating yourself from people who really care. You're isolating yourself from your true self, and you're a miserable human being. You are so miserable. There's no other word to describe that person who is consumed by body image, the person who is so obsessed with getting smaller and smaller that they're willing to destroy themselves to get there. That person is living a miserable life. There is no redeeming quality in that life. There is no spark. There is no ambition, because your goal is so superficial and you are so obsessed with something that at the end of the day doesn't matter. Now, in my case, I masked my obsession with skinniness with a false claim that I just wanted to be healthy, because in my mind, losing weight, being skinny equaled being healthy. And I convinced myself of that lie. And that was my motivation. That was what, I told people, but it wasn't the truth. The truth is I wanted to be smaller and smaller and smaller at the expense of everyone and everything, including my own sanity and my own life. Looking back, I had a hidden goal just like I do today. I truly did want to be healthy. I just had a misinterpretation of what healthy was. I was misunderstanding what healthy was. As I've grown and I've progressed since then, I've come to realize and learn what healthy really means. And while technically I still have the same goal as I did back then, the goal being healthy, I'm going about it in a totally different way and a totally different mindset. If I could talk to my younger self, I'm sure my younger self would not listen, because my younger self, while I'm still stubborn, she is super stubborn. My younger self is, or was, not a nice person. Someone who didn't want to listen to what others had to say, especially when it came to herself. Because to her, she was nothing. And my self-esteem back then was dictated by how other people saw me. So, of course, you know, smaller you get, skinnier you get, the more attention you get, even if it's bad attention, it boosts a false sense of self-esteem. And I probably want to tell my younger self, like I said, I probably wouldn't listen, but I would want to tell myself that the attention you're getting is momentary. It's not going to last because you're going to become labeled as something that you don't want to be labeled as. Being labeled the sick girl is no fun. Another thing that I would tell myself, and I wouldn't listen, but I think it would be important for my younger self to hear, is you're going to have goals. You might not realize those goals now, but in a few years, you are going to have some goals. And the only way you are ever going to achieve those goals is by taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, facing your demons, and feeding yourself. And that last one, my younger self would not listen to. I'm sure of it. But it's important to say, if you have goals, especially if you have fitness goals, and you think being smaller is going to help you achieve those goals, you're never going to achieve those goals. You're never going to make it. You have to feed your body. You have to feed your mind. You have to take care of yourself. And it seems so simple. Something as simple as you just have to eat food. But a lot of people, myself included, that was something well, at least I didn't know. I knew it, but I didn't make it part of my life. I ignored that fact, and I substituted that fact for falsehood. The falsehood being skinny equals healthy. When really the truth is food. Food makes you healthy. Food makes you strong. And my whole life, I wanted to be healthy, but I also wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to be fit. I wanted to be strong. But I was so terrified of growing that even though I wanted muscles, I was afraid of growing in that aspect too, growing muscles, because I knew that, well, I know now. Back then, I did not think to know this. You have to eat to build muscle. You have to eat to build strength. You have to eat to accomplish your fitness goals. And like I said, I mean, you think, well, duh. Yeah, of course you have to eat. Or you think about someone who is in an eating disorder. That most obvious fact is not obvious to them. Going back to my original statement of things that I've learned through this process, this recovery journey. And it's hard sometimes to think of the things that I've learned, but I think the one that stands out the most is I've learned that, one, I have goals, and those goals require me to eat. But by eating, I will accomplish those goals. It's like a back and forth. It's like a vice versa situation, that one leads to the other, but the other leads to the other kind of thing. And I think that's really important to come to that realization, to discover that food will help you with your life, with your goals, with your journey. And while it might seem, again, it's an obvious thing, it's not always obvious to everyone. So I just wanted to sit down, kind of get some of my rambling, my thoughts out there on that subject. I hope maybe this has helped someone, or maybe sparked some inspiration, some motivation. Someone has kind of been thinking the same way. And so here's another person who's thinking that same way, that, hey, here's an obvious statement, but maybe it wasn't completely obvious to you. It doesn't make you dumb. It just means that you needed a little bit of time to learn that for yourself. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed. That makes me so happy. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. I make videos about eating disorders, eating disorder recovery, diets, and nutrition. And I have been dabbling in a couple of recipe videos as well, so definitely subscribe if any of that sounds interesting to you. And I'll see you next time. Bye!